Welcome, it's your friendly neighborhood Badger here, and I'm back to talk about Incursion in Ultimatum's 3.14 League. Now, since 3.13, to do with, all of the Atlas passives that we have been getting through Echoes of the Atlas, Incursion's been a really, really strong contender to making money, but it's kind of flown under the radar a little bit. But in 3.14, with some upgrades to quality of life and improvements of rooms as well, it's become a really, really strong way, albeit still not really meta, but a really strong way to get lots of currency and get some pretty awesome loot as well, because you can, now sell your Incursions, or you can save them to run later or anything like that. It's pretty awesome. Now, it's no surprise to people that I really enjoy Incursion because my favorite league ever was Synthesis. I really like kind of creating my own mini maps and having my own choice around that. So with Incursion, I thought I'd highlight kind of some strategies and everything like that to make a good amount of money. So let's jump on. Updates in 3.14. Now, I'm not going to read this massive wall of text here, but I'm going to go over specific things. Say, for example, you can now trade your, not your ultimatums, your Incursions to other people very, very easily. You don't have to go through the Forbidden Trove to be able to sell your Corruption Chamber or anything like that, which is very nice. A lot of changes have been made, just, kind of summarizing here, to loot drops and everything like that in the Incursion temple rooms and all that kind of stuff. And more kind of specificity depending on what rooms you run. The Incursion boss will drop certain items. So say, for example, you get a tier 3 fire room, the Incursion boss will drop more fire modifiers, and also the vials themselves have a higher chance to drop based on what kind of tier 3 rooms you have. Now, explosive rooms have also been upgraded a little bit. You can get loot from explosive rooms even if you don't want to use those powder kegs anywhere else in the temple. The Shrine of Empowerment has been upgraded, and the Table of Sacrifice has also been kind of helped a little bit along its way. And then lastly, there's a little bit of quality of life to the Monsters Killed progress bar in Incursions as well in maps. So, my strategies. What are we actually going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about Glenack Cairns. Now, since 3.13, as I did state, Glenack Cairns has been probably the best place to do your Incursions and do maps in Glenack Cairns. For this, because we've got two different things here. We've got resource reallocation and contested development. Now, this means that by your 4-way boss fight from Maven, you can have these two passive points and you can start running your Incursions here, which is super strong. Resource reallocation, the first node, means that killing non-resident architects in areas has a 50% chance to add an additional upgrade tier to surviving architect's room. Now, just another way that we can put this is basically if you've got a tier 1 room and you want to upgrade that tier 1 room to tier 2, it has a 50% chance to upgrade to tier 3 instead. That's basically what resource reallocation means. Contested development means killing resident architects in areas adds their upgrade tier to the surviving architect's room. Now, to summarize in probably a more understandable way, what this means is if you've got a tier 1 or a tier 2 room, say you've got a tier 1 room and you kill the other architect, it will transfer the tier 1 room over to the next type of room and then upgrade it to a tier 2, and I'll explain just in a moment exactly how that all means. So, tier 0 upgrades. So what exactly does this mean in Glenack Cairns if you're, faced with tier 0? Basically, nothing really has changed here. You can just kill either the Takati, Architect of Toxins here to get tier 1 strongboxes, or Xantabi, the Architect of Concealment, to get a tier 1 poisonous plants right here. So one or the other, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna have a tier 1 room through here. Tier 1 and tier 2 upgrades is where things get a little bit more interesting. So a tier 1 upgrade, now as stated before with contested, was it contested development? Oh, I'm going the wrong way, hang on. Resource reallocation, never mind. Resource reallocation. If you decide to kill a tier 1 Zopak here with a Tempest Generator, it will upgrade to tier 2 and have a 50% chance to upgrade to tier 3, which is really interesting. So you could go for the tier 3 here, or if you killed Topante, this means that the tier 1 from this room right here would get transferred over to here and then upgraded to tier 2, so we'd get a tier 2 lightning room. So that's really interesting with tier 1 upgrades here, tier 1 upgrade rooms. Tier 2 upgrade rooms, they kind of follow the same thing here. If we kill this Zippocado Royal Architect, it will go to a tier 3 Office of Cartography room right here. Or if we kill Uramote, the Architect of Expansion, it will go to, first of all, a tier 2 magic monsters and then get upgraded to a tier 3 room there as well. So as you can see, Glenak Cairns, it's so much easier to get really, really strong, many tier 3 rooms. But how do you actually go about it? Now, I've got a little bit of an Incursion tier list here. Now, on screen, it might not be that easy to see, but down below, I'm going to leave a link to this picture here if you want to save it, if you want to keep it for future times. But this is just my tier list. As I did say before, this is not, this is not exhaustive. Right here, you might like certain things over other certain things, but we've got S tier, A tier, B tier, and C tier. They're all good, upgrading them, means you get more mobs in rooms and everything like that. But S tier, we've got things like the Corruption, the Temple Nexus to increases the item levels dropped by 1 and upgrades connected rooms dropped by 1 tier, all this kind of stuff. We've got the Doriani's Institute, the Museum of Artifacts, and the Wealth of the Vaal. I won't go through everything else, but take a look down below. This will hopefully just help you. If you're not sure what one is better than the other, this tier list right here should help you to be able to get, the most out of it. Now, this is also balanced around Trade League, remember? SSF, you're obviously going to maybe even, look at the Crucible of Flame or the kind of Sanctum of Immortality or Conduit of Lightning to get specific types of items. And that you might even take them over a Corruption Chamber. It's up to you. As I said, it is not exhaustive, exactly following this tier list just like this. Now, moving on, what are the strats? What are the strats? So I would say upgrade as many useless rooms to tier 2 if possible during the first 5 to 6 incursions. Now, what this means is, say for example, you've got a bunch of tier 2 rooms. Every tier 2 room that you kind of roll on, you have a chance to upgrade to tier 3. The other room here, this also has a chance of being tier 3. So say for example, right here, we don't have any corruption chambers, meaning that, this could potentially roll a corruption chamber that we can upgrade to tier 3, or so could the automation, the Sanctum of Unity, Department of Thaumaturgy, although we'd want to upgrade that one to level 3. Yeah, so as soon as you can, get as many to tier 2. That's going to give you the best possible way during the next 5 to 6 incursions, the kind of back end of it, to upgrade as many of those to tier 3 as possible. Now, a tier 3 room means it cannot be selected in a future pool, so consider very early tier 3 on bad rooms. If, in the first 3 incursions, you've got a chance of just getting a tier 3, pretty bad room, it's okay to upgrade it to tier 3 because it takes it out of the pool for the rest of the incursions. Now, I've just put this note here, be wary of the 50% upgrade. Most of the time, having a 50% upgrade from a tier 1 to a tier 3 room in one incursion is good, but sometimes you do want to kind of, solidify a tier 2 room and not a tier 3 room. All I'm really saying is just be wary that this can happen. It's got a 50% chance of happening. Most cases, it's going to be totally fine. And lastly, that's not actually the Apex of Ascension. I should actually change that name to the Temple Nexus, but the Temple Nexus is amazing in the middle, great on the sides, and okay in the corners. Now, I've just realized as well, not Apex of Ascension. Let me just quickly change this here. It is Temple Nexus. Temple Nexus right there, and let's present again. The Temple Nexus now in 3.14 is a tier 1 is a 1 random upgrade, a tier 2 is 2 random upgrades, and tier 3 is all connected upgrading. So what does this mean? I'll just quickly demonstrate on this small little map here. So as I said before, amazing in the middle, great on side, and okay in corners. It's basically S tier in the middle because you've got 6 potential connections that you can have of all having an upgrade. It's okay on the side, so this one, 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 and this one. All of these ones surrounding the middle, it's okay because you've got you've got 3 upgrade rooms, you've even got 5 upgrade rooms here, 5 here, 4 over here, and it will select 2 random connections. So what this means, let's say this Sanctum of Unity, this is actually a tier 2 upgrade room. What this means is now in 3.14, it's going to, out of these 3 connected rooms here, Workshop, Automation, and Strongbox, it's going to choose 2 out of these 3 to upgrade 1 level. So it'll upgrade the Automation potentially, or the Strongbox, or the Workshop, 2 out of the 3. So if I wasn't actually to have this connection here, it'd be very much guaranteed just upgrading these 2. And in the corners here, a tier 1 is perfect because you can only just hit 2 right here anyway, and it's just got a random, a random chance of hitting one of these 2, so we can just do 1 connection through there. So the Temple Nexus has a lot more, let's say, strategy involved in it, depending on what rooms you do hit. Now, there are a couple of advanced strats that I would like to talk about right before we go into a live demonstration of all 12 rooms and what I would do. I've recorded that all for you guys to see. But there's a couple of advanced strats I will say here, and they will be in demonstration in the run that we do. So S tier rooms are worth rolling over very early to get tier 2 of another random room. So what this means, like say for example an S tier room, a room that you really want to get, let's say that it's, the first or the second, incursion that you run. So if you upgrade, you'll still need to hit again to get tier 3. Let's say you upgrade your S tier corruption room to tier 2 in the first rounds. You'll still need to hit that tier 2 corruption room again to upgrade it to tier 3. If you, say for example, have an option between changing a room to a corruption temple tier 1 or upgrading a room or to a tier 2 room or anything like that, very early on I'd take upgrading to a tier 2 room because it means that the corruption chamber gets put back into the pool of everything to be run, right? It means it can come up again, and it can come up when you're trying to, upgrade a tier 2 room to a tier 3. You can swap that tier 2 room with the corruption chamber, and then that corruption chamber will automatically upgrade to tier 3. So in terms of, maths, it's really hard to kind of calculate exactly, but if it's very early, I would consider rolling over your S tier rooms to have a better chance of upgrading them to tier 3 later. But we're talking first 2 to 3 rooms. If it is the very first incursion that you run, I usually only say first or first to second. If it is an upgrade room that you want, you can skip the next 2 incursions in the map and run a new map. This will give you more shots on average to hit the S tier room later. So say for example, the very first incursion you run, you've got 12 incursions remaining, you open it up and it's a corruption chamber. Run the corruption chamber, get it to tier 2, and then just don't run the other 2 incursions in that map. What this means, the next map that you jump in, it will start with what the next incursion would have been in the previous map, but then you'll have more of a chance. You've got that 2 extra chances there to hit a corruption chamber again. Each map, a room can only roll once. So say for example, you see a corruption chamber upgrade, that's the only time that you're going to see that. Or if you upgrade that corruption chamber, you can't upgrade it again during a map. So this is basically a little bit of a small little exploit. Not an actual exploit, a small little strategy. I've got to be careful about exploits at the moment, don't we, chat? A small little strategy to, help you potentially target things a little bit better. My favorite GAINZ maps, I've got 3 maps that are my favorite to run for incursions. Now, Tropical Island, it's just my favorite. It's extremely linear, very clean and straightforward. Basilica is actually a pretty small map, but just don't run the boss because it takes about 600 hours to defeat the Innocent boss. And then Graveyard map is a small map as well, and the boss does take a while as well in the Graveyard. So I would say that Basilica and Graveyard, if you're not worried about killing the map bosses, those ones are really good as well. But Tropical Island, tier 1 incursion running right there. So that's all I really have to say here with this one. We're going to jump into an example run. If you enjoy this kind of content, let me know down below if you learned something, if you are running your temples. Let me know what kind of temples you get out of all of this. And I'll leave you, definitely watch the next bit as well. Watch to the end because it is really going to help you, and there's a lot of really, really interesting stuff there to watch as I run kind of maybe a medium tier temple that we generated with the example that I'll show you. But also hit that subscribe button if you like this kind of teaching content as well. I want to release more of this, and as I'm taking maybe a couple of days off stream to get some content out, very much helps me. The more that you hit that like button, hit that subscribe, the more that my content can reach other people and we can continue to grow. So I'll leave you with all of that. Until next time, Badger out. All right, now let's do a little bit of a demonstration, a live demonstration of how I would use everything that we've talked about before in my live kind of 12 incursion run, or 4 maps, because there's 3 incursions per map. So we're going to go through, I'm going to talk about every decision that I make, and we'll see the incursion that I've made before. Now, in my inventory here, I've actually got 1 temple right here, which is a temple we used with all of the... actually, no, this one is not the temple we used with all of the mechanics. This was run in a region that wasn't GAINZ, and we got, we got 4 tier 3 rooms, but they're not great rooms at all. And then, our corruption chamber we didn't upgrade at all, and we've got some pretty bad other things throughout all there. And then we've also got another one over here that we did use with the upgrade techniques. 5 tier 3 rooms, most of them are going to give quite a bit of good loot. and then some other stuff there as well. And that room right there, this temple right here, run in GAINZ, was actually probably, a little bit of a bad luck right there. All right, so let's jump in here and let's jump right to it. Let's go. All right, let's jump here. So we've got our pits. So pits right here is being upgraded into the jewelry or a explosive charge and sealed coffer right here. Now let's just have a quick look at see everything else that we've got around here. We've got a surveyor's study, which is one for maps, which is pretty nice to upgrade if you've got, bad map generation. And then we've got a strongbox chamber, not too bad. It's a pretty boring start to a room. The vault is probably the only one we'd want to get to level 3 out of all of these ones right here. Armourers Workshop can be good, a normal workshop here as well, increasing the item yield. But what we're going to try and do here is, I would say, upgrade the, I'd upgrade this into jewelry, but we can, transfer it and upgrade it later if we wanted to. I'll upgrade it into jewelry, and then we'll try and get as many connections as we can, because there's a max number of 2 of the connections that you can make per room. So let's jump into it, shall we? Alright, let's check number 2, shall we? And we'll see what's happened beforehand. So as we did do, we actually upgraded the Jeweler's Workshop, and we actually found 2 connections. I connected it to the Strongbox Chamber, and I connected it to the entrance as well, just to allow for a really nice movement right through there. Okay, so we do have here either a Xantapi, the Omnitech of Fire, to upgrade right here if we wanted to, or we could upgrade to the Strongbox Chamber. Now, this is where our first interesting decision comes in. And there's no real right way, because some people might want some other, some cool rooms, like a Strongbox Chamber. I personally don't really enjoy the Strongbox Chamber myself, so what we would actually do here, in my opinion, is upgrade to the Fire one. Now, it's not a room that's amazing. We might get some good loot drop or something from it. Let me just kill those enemies there, 1 second. We might get some good loot drops from it, but what this actually means is if we kill this guy right here, the surviving architect's level 1 gets put onto over here, and then it gets upgraded to level 2. And then the level 2, if we hit that next time, we can either upgrade that to level 3, or swap that level 2 to another good room. So we're just getting an extra, basically, chance of upgrading this to a good room. Now, we see there's no Corruption Temple here, there's no Jewelry Temple or anything like that. Not Jewelry Temple, sorry, Gem Temple, meaning that we could potentially have a real good shot at getting something really juicy from this. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's the first interesting decision that we're making, is to actually swap from the Strongbox to the Fire Temple right there. Let's do that. Alright, now let's have a little look at what happened here, shall we? So we did upgrade it to the level 2 Omnitech Forge. As I said, that was, what was going to happen there, which is pretty interesting, which means that next time around, we could have a chance of upgrading that from the Omnitech Forge into a level 3 of pretty much anything else that isn't on the board. So this first round is actually really much just about leveling up and kind of switching around and getting things to level 2 as much as you can. That's all I'll really say. Now, we've got a workshop down here, so we're going to have to make one of a similar decision right here. So we could, upgrade the item yield of the temple up to level 3, or we could switch it to increasing magic monsters throughout the temple. Both of these are both really good, so what I'm just going to do right here is the exact same thing. I'm going to switch this to a level 2, increasing magic monsters throughout the temple right here. So let's do that right now. Alright, let's see what we've got here for basically the first incursion of the second map here, so the 4th incursion. Now, we do have the Hall of Lords upgraded to level 2, as I said, and we've got a chance to upgrade that level 2 into a better level 3 if we can. Now, we've got another very, very interesting choice right here, which is the Sparring Room. Now, this contains a chest full of weapons, and we're level 1 already. And obviously, we could upgrade it to, a level 2, or it could have a 50% chance to upgrade to a level 3. Now, the second one here is the reduced player maximum resistances. Now, a lot of people would say, let's just take that. We want to upgrade this as much as we can. And, we've got a pretty good chance of hitting the Corruption Chamber with, 9 incursions, or say 8 incursions left or anything like that. But here's something really interesting that I'm going to say. Now, this is going to get into a little bit of the advanced techniques. Because we're at the first incursion of 3 incursions in a map, if I was to select the Corruption Chamber, we would then no longer be able to land on upgrading to a Corruption Chamber in any of the extra 2 versions right there. And so we've actually only got 6 more chances of hitting a Corruption Chamber anywhere else. Now, if I was to upgrade this right here to a level 2 or potentially a level 3, Corruption Chamber is still in the pool of other upgrades coming through everything, switching to upgrades. So if I'm to continue to just get level 2 upgrades, we can then very instantly upgrade to a level 3 if we get the chance somewhere else. So upgrading to a level 2 right here now means that we do have to land once again on the sparring room to upgrade it to a level 3, which, you know, is a very real chance that we don't actually hit that. So I'm going to take an interesting choice here and go for the room full of weapons to go to an upgraded level 2, which then has a chance to go to an upgraded level 3 of a better room, or go to a level 3 means we can't hit sparring room anywhere else, which means we've got a better chance of hitting the corruption chamber. Now, I know that that's one of the advanced techniques, but we're going to see what happens with the rest of the temple here, so let's do that one right now. So, the Hall of Champions, we actually did upgrade to a level 3, which means that this is no longer in the pool of upgrades that we can hit anywhere else, which is, you know, quite nice. And we get a whole a room full of weapons, Hall of Champions. Now, the chests in there, they can drop like things like 6 links or some good unique items and everything like that. So this is not a bad room at all. Now, the Hall of Lords is now going to be where we start making some more interesting decisions, of decisions we haven't hit before, of level 2. So we could either just upgrade to Queen at 0 right here to fight her, which is, you know, pretty nice if your build can do it, or we can have a chance to upgrade this to basically a level 3 Shrine of Empowerment. Now, the Shrine of Empowerment, I would say, is probably not going to be a very good option right here, and the reason being is we've only got 2 rooms that we can be connected to with the Shrine of Empowerment, which is the Hall of Champions, which is already level 3, and we don't need to upgrade that, or we can upgrade this to the Tempest Generator right here, and connect it there. Which we don't know what that's going to be right now, and I would definitely not take this. Now, this is a little bit of hindsight is 2020 situation here, because if we did actually upgrade it to a corruption chamber, this is a really, really interesting situation here, which is very rare. But if we did upgrade to a level 2 corruption, we then would have hit here the, you know, the upgrade tier here, which then would have hit into a level 3 corruption chamber, which is a little bit interesting. However, once again, hindsight is 2020. There is no way that we could have known that that would have happened. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, let's go to basically upgrading to a level 3 Queen of Atziri. Let's do that. And the last one of map 2. Let's see what has happened here. So, we did get the Throne of Atziri right here, which is pretty nice. And that means that this, once again, is out of the pool. Now, let's have a look at the hatchery here. So, hatchery is, you know, basically augmenting the Omnitech with minions. It does increase minion monster packs throughout the temple, so just more monster packs in the temple itself. So we could, you know, have a chance of upgrading this to a level 2, or potentially 50% chance for a level 3. Or we could upgrade to Sitakotzel, the Architect of the Swarm right here, granting a unique item. Now, being with 6 incursions left, I'm actually once again going to do the same thing that we decided with the Hall of Champions here, to try and upgrade this to level 2. And then once we get to basically the next 2 maps, we're going to start to see if we can fill this out with all of the really, really good ones that we do want. So I'm going to upgrade this to a level 2, potentially level 3. Let's go. Okay, now we're on to basically the second half, which is where we do start looking at upgrading as many as we can to level 3 and getting those good modifiers. So let's have a look and see what happens here. We did actually upgrade to a hybridization chamber right here, which is level 3. Takes that out of the pool, meaning that we could potentially hit some other really, really good modifiers here. Now, we've actually selected the anti-chamber in the middle here, and we've got 2 shots here to see if we can get a double upgrade right here. So let's have a good look, the apex. All right. So we've got healing monsters in the temple, or we do have a containing chest full of gems right here. Now, being one or the other, I'm just going to go for gems because it is better, which is what you usually do right here. We've got a chance to maybe switch it to a level 2 or level 3, something better. So, but let's go for the gems right in the middle here and try and make as many connections as we can to make traversing through the temple even easier. All right, let's see what happens, shall we? So, Alva herself, let me just kill that monster right there. Alva herself did upgrade to the gem cutters right here. Now we've got the Omnitech Forge to see if we can upgrade that to a level 3. Either of the Omnitech Forge or something better. So let's have a good look, shall we? So we've got increased monster pack size, or we do have the valuable item, which is a fire valuable item. So depending whether you want, you know, a good fire item with a good mod, or you want to be increasing the monster pack size, that's up to you. I'm going to go for pack size, however, because I really enjoy pack size in the temple itself. So let's do that one. And the last one, so this is the 4th last right here. So we did upgrade to the Hall of War, the increased pack monster size. But then we've got a cellar over here, not connected to anything. So what I'm going to try and do is see if I can connect it, first of all, to the Jeweler's Workshop. And then if we do get a second drop, we'll connect it to the Surveyor's Study right here. So we'll have a good look. What do we've got? We've got poisonous plants, or we do have contain a chest full of items. I'm going to upgrade to the chest full of items, because that's just the better one in my opinion. So let's do that. Alright, let's see. This is the last 3 incursions, so let's have a good look here. We've got an Armourers Workshop is what we could do right here. So we can either upgrade to a tier 2 or potentially tier 3 Armourers Workshop, or we could transfer to Tormented Spirits. Now, being the last 3 incursions, we don't really need to worry too much about getting the Tormented Spirits. If we transfer to Tormented Spirits, it goes to tier 2, but then we don't have a chance of hitting this room again to upgrade to a tier 3 Tormented Spirits. So we're actually just going to upgrade Tsar Motto and try and get a level 3, the 50% chance to get a level 3 right here. Chest full of armor, we can get 16 from that right there, which is pretty nice. Let's do it. All right, last 2 rooms, see if we can get anything juicy, hey? So we've got our storage room down here is what we've hit, and before we see our armory, didn't get upgraded to a tier 3, but we still got the tier 2 there. So that's, you know, good enough there, right? Okay, so the storage room, we could have a chance to upgrade, or we could switch to the increased area of effect. Chance to upgrade to a tier 3 is exactly what we're going to go for right here, and we're going to try and connect to the Surveyor's Study right here as well. Let's do that. And the last one right here, let's have a good look, shall we? So we did actually upgrade to a chest full of items, Museum of Artifact. We did connect to the Surveyor's Study for some maps here as well, which is pretty nice. And we've got the Gemcutter's Workshop right in the middle. Now, Gemcutter's Workshop, we could upgrade to a tier 3, 50% chance, or we could go to Containing a Breach. The easy chance and choice is going for the 50-50 to get a tier 3 Gemcutter, so let's just do it and see the results of this temple. Alright, we're all done. Let's have a good look at our temple, shall we? Hello, Alva. Now, this is the temple that we have ended up with. Now, as you can see, we did get the 50% chance for the Doriani's Institute, meaning that we have a chance to kind of double Corrupted Gem. We've got our Hall of War here, which is increasing monster pack size, which is really nice for just dropping items in the temple. We're connected to the Apex of Atzoatl, which is really nice here to have a good chance of dropping some good stuff there. Got a hybridization chamber, we've got a Hall of Champions, we also have a Throne of Ziri, a Museum of Artifacts, all at tier 3, so 6 tier 3, and then everything else is connected right here. Now, this is an extremely good temple. Now, we don't have a Corruption Chamber, but we've still got a lot of loot dropping out of this one right here, so I'd say that that's quite the success with the strategy that we're using. So that's really nice. So you could either run this temple yourself if you've got some gems, or you could take the Temple Chronicle and put it over here, and then you've got a really, really nice temple to run right here. And that is everything. That's all I can really say about my techniques and everything like this. Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this kind of content. Hit that subscribe button if you do like it, and let me know if this has improved your temple game. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and until next time, Badger is out.